everybody. Welcome to Saturday Night Live. I am Bethany, and as you can see, this square is empty, and it's because we are going to go through all of my aged whips. And by aged, I don't mean necessarily that they are years and years old, because I did recently go through some of my really old whips and get like frog them or finish them. So that's basically what we're doing. I recently watched a video by Jen Geigley where she pulled out all of her old whips and decided whether she was going to frog them or finish them. So some of these I have seen recently and thought, oh, I should work on that. And I just haven't. So we're going to make some quick decisions today. I'm also going to kind of show you some things that maybe you haven't seen here on the channel or haven't seen lately on the channel and were maybe wondering why you haven't seen them. And it's because I probably haven't made any progress since the last time I showed them. Also, we are using a new setup. I have new equipment that I am using. We're going to see how well this video transitions. It is very, very hot here. I have both windows curtains open so I can get some good light, and I am boiling. My temperature app currently says it is 89, feels like 93. I'm feeling it. I wish I was back in Minnesota where there wasn't any humidity. That was great. If you are interested to know what things I got up to and what kind of yarns I purchased and yarn stores I visit while I was in Minnesota last week, which is why you didn't have a video last week. Tune in next week for the month end recap, wrap up video, and I'll show you all of that. Anyway, shout out to Jen Geigley for giving me this idea to go through my whips because I've been putting it off. They're kind of everywhere, scattered around me. Because most of them, if I just maybe invest a couple hours, they would be done. But they're not, because I'm looking over at my desk and I have some current whips that I would love to finish so that I could start new projects. I am in a cast on mood after the fiber show last month and Minnesota this month and some pre-orders coming in that I'll show off in the next video. I'm ready to have like 18 pairs of hands and just knit all day. I would love to do that. So I guess let's get started. In no particular order, I think probably the oldest one of these is like a little over a year old. So these are not really old whips, but they have been sitting long enough that I would like to make the decision of, am I going to frog it and keep the yarn? Am I going to frog it and give the yarn away or destash the yarn? Am I going to finish it and give the item away, or am I going to finish it and keep the item? So that's kind of where we're at. Mixed among these are some recent whips that I have not shown on here, but I've kind of grown stagnant on working on them in preference for other things I've been working on. So the first one I'm going to show you, you guys haven't seen yet. It is in this basket here. It looks super exciting, right? MSC Makes, a channel here on YouTube, released a free pattern for mini hexies. Now her pattern is for join as you go. I'm not planning to join as I go. I'm planning to do kind of a chain stitch, almost slip stitch type of braided join on these, because the idea is when I made my last scrap blanket, I made it all out of variegated and speckled yarn, and I separated out my scrap yarn that was solid. So my thought is every so often I'm going to grab a ball of yarn from my solids scrap bin and just make as many hexies as I can out of it. These run between 2 inches and 2¼ inches, which I'm fine with that small difference. It'll all kind of work out in the end. And I'm just crocheting until I run out of yarn. So, and then I will put them all in a bin, mix them all up, and then just grab them and join them that way. I wanted it very kind of random, very chaotic, just splashes of color everywhere. I have not chosen my join color yet because I know that I do have neutrals in here. Like I've got whites in here, I've got browns and grays and all kinds of different colors. So I haven't quite chosen a joining color. I might actually decide to join with maybe a variegated or something like that. I haven't quite decided yet. But anyway, so this is a whip that I am going to finish. This is probably not necessarily long term. I need about 1,008. And right now I think I have 60. So I'm making progress on this. I have not picked this up for several weeks, probably about a month or so. I have not picked this up because I've been working on other things. But this is definitely going in the finished pile. So 1 for the finished pile. Again, I don't really have room around me to put these things, so you're going to hear me drop things on the floor. Okay. The next thing I have, I was calling my Capricorn sweater because I was knitting it with a Capricorn themed mini skein set from Forbidden Fiber Arts. And it is currently in this bag. And I did not math properly on how I wanted to separate the colors and stripes because I am striping them. So I just randomly decided when I wanted to change colors. And because this is a sweater, it was going to have sleeves. Originally, it was the City Limits Light. Because this is a heavy fingering weight yarn. But because I didn't do any calculations and I just kind of went on a whim, I also cast on a size bigger than I planned. It looks nice, but I think I'm going to frog it and start over with maybe a rocket tee by Tanis Fiber Arts, or I don't know. Not sure yet, but I am planning to make this again. I do want this to be a sweater. Here is the yarn already. It's sitting on just cables. I took the needles out because I knew I was planning to frog this. I just didn't do it yet because I had already separated for the sleeves, and when I separated for the sleeves I realized my stripes weren't going to be even. And I may like chaotic knits, but I like my stripes match. So this is a frogget, and then it will go back into stash to decide what I'm going to do with it again. So I'm going to take the pattern and toss it over there to go back in my notebook. So 1 frogget, 1 finish, 1 frog, if you're keeping track. Maybe I'll insert like a little counter up in the corner. All right, next one. This one I just need to finish. You know, it's so close to being done. Anyway, it is the Baseline Cardigan by Suzanne Sommer. Sommer? Not sure. Oh, this basket actually has 2 whips in it. But see, I have the pockets are done and blocked. I've got my color for my wrists. And look, it just needs, this first sleeve just needs finished. I have to tink back a couple rows, and that's probably what's keeping me from finishing it. And the second sleeve needs finished, and then I just need to sew these on in some buttons. This is a finish. It's so close to being done. I'm just going to have to, you know, maybe this is the next thing that I work on after my current whip. All right, I'm going to lay this on my lap for right now while I show you the second one, which is probably a frog. So, in this basket is so many scraps. This is my current scrap basket of anything that is probably, it's just a lot. It's a lot of different things. Anyway, this is a blanket. This is the Northeasterly blanket. I started this, I want to say 7, maybe 8 years ago. This is probably my longest WIP. And since then, I have changed how I knit so much. And you can kind of tell looking at it. It looks really clean here, but all my... Try it again. Is that the right... Okay. Yeah, it looks clean, but my stitches are twisted, and that's why it's so tight together. Why my stitches are so tight. Because I'm knitting on a small needle, but it's not tiny. Anyway, these are my current stitches. Obviously, I'm not death gripping the stitches, but yeah, I think I'm going to frog this. I'm not sure what I'll make it into. I might cast on a new northeasterly. I don't know yet. I've got some scrap blankets in my pattern library that might do well with this. Yep. See, northeasterly. Yeah, so this is going to be a frog. So we've got 2 finishets and 2 froggets. Oh, so far so good. That's not terrible. Oh, okie dokie. Next, I guess we'll go through these. These are relatively recent, as in from this year. So this first one, now if you have known me from previous videos, like early videos, I started this channel back in November of 2023. You will have noticed that I knit a lot of shawls back then. Like it's years ago. Anyway, I knit a lot of shawls then because I was very scared to knit garments. I had knit 1 sweater and I was very scared to continue. Anyway, I jumped headfirst into knitting garments and fell in love with them and haven't knit a pattern that was not a garment really since. But in January, I started the Glittering Snowscape shawl, which is the Hyper Knit Along for Stephen West. I've done it a couple years in a row. And this is the state it's in. It's almost done. Here's why it's sitting languishing. 1, I kind of lost momentum because in the section that I'm on, I need to tink back because things are not lining up properly and my stitch count is off. So what I need to do is I need to go take all of this out back to here and redo this section. And then I can do that section, and then after that comes, and if you can see it in this picture, comes this border section. And I don't know that I'm jazzed enough to wear this shawl, especially with it being 93 degrees outside right now. So I don't want to frog it necessarily. Oh, maybe I will. Okay, so it's 5 different colors of purple. I don't know if you can see them all. So it's 5 different colors of purple, and I think that would make a nice sweater. So I might frog this. You know what? Undecided. We're going to add another category because we can. Undecided. Going back into hibernation. Not sure, because here's the thing. I cannot make cold weather decisions when I'm sweating from the hot weather. Because, you know, I really liked the colors and I really liked the concept. I love Stephen West patterns and I like learning new stitches, but I cannot visualize myself wearing this when it's this hot outside. Now I can visualize myself wearing sweaters because I wear sweaters when it's cold in the house. But I don't wear shawls in the house. I usually wear them to work. I can slip them on, slip them off, and they sit on the back of my chair when I'm, running around the office. So I am undecided about that one. And that's probably going to be the same answer for this one. And I'm sorry. That crushes your dreams and your hopes for this video. But this was the mystery shawl for 2023. I guess this is last year's. The Geo Gradient shawl. This one I'm going to finish because I am so close to being done on this. I just want it off the needles. So here's how far I am currently. That's the wrong side, but you get the gist. I just need to do finish the 4 sides. I've got all my yarn. I don't want to dump it. I'll sort it in here. I've got a little cheat sheet here on how I want to line the colors up. So that's a finish. Okay, so one undecided. If we're keeping up here, I'm keeping track. One undecided, 2 frogs, 3 finishes. Not bad so far. Next, these ones are a little more current. And these are probably both going to be finishes because they are actually in a current project bag that I would like to be using for another project. So the first one is, find my page, is the Bright Axis Tee by Stephanie Lotwin in the Knit Happy with Self-Striping yarn. I'm so close to being done with this. I need to finish this back panel here, finish the front panel and connect it, and then do the little ribbing around the arms. So that's a finish. And then the other one I have is a So Summer shirt that I was experimenting on with Intarsia. So this is also a finish. I just want to get this off the needle so I can start a new So Summer shirt. So 2 more to finish. I really need to get on these because it'd be nice to wear them. Summer tops. I could be wearing a knitted summer top right now. I chose not to. Not sure why. Anyway, moving right along is this ambitious thought of something that I thought I was going to do, and I'm not. I'm looking at it right now and it's getting frogged. And the yarn is probably going to be repurposed for craft market items. Anyway, I had this grand idea of making a temperature blanket based on my birthday years, the year I was born temperatures. I printed out all these papers and calculated everything and did a bunch of math and started the first row and hated it. And then I started on a knitting version of it, hated it. I even have the custom buttons here. So here are the colors. More than likely, this will get repurposed into Kindle covers, hats, scrunchies, something. We'll either go into the craft market in November or will get made into hats for Knit the Rainbow. This was the other color that I was going to use to separate the months. So, this is DK Weight Blanket. It was supposed to be a temperature blanket in linen stitch, and then it was going to be a temperature blanket in stockinette stitch with an I-cord border. Not loving it anymore, so losing it. Frog. Okay. Next, this is probably a frog too. Okay. I don't like cotton. I'm going to say that and get it out of the way. I don't like cotton. I don't like pure cotton, like cotton with nothing else in it. It's got to have something. Give me viscose, give me nylon, give me acrylic, give me merino. Give me some sort of cotton blend, and I am happier. Because then I've got a little bit of stretch or whatever. This is the softest cotton, but I don't work well with it. It doesn't work well with me. I've got every color under the rainbow in here. I bought it several years ago, right before the pandemic, and I was going to use it to weave with, which I may still hold on to it and weave with it. I do have a Rigid Huddle Loom and a 4 harness table loom, but I thought, oh, I can I can crochet something with it. So I was gonna crochet a bag, but I don't want to line the bag, and I don't want to start over again. So this was the bag. I love the pattern. It's pretty well written. Pass that over there with the other patterns. So my thought is I'm probably not going to frog these, but this yarn will probably go, take out the crochet hook that I have been looking everywhere for because it's in here, and my scissors, and this will probably get put with my weaving yarns, which I don't have currently because I used all of them. I haven't woven in a while, so I will create a new bin, or this will be the bin it lives in, of my weaving yarns. So this is another frog. So let me think, how many frogs do we have? We have 4 frogs. 1, 2, 3, 4 finishes, and a hibernate. We're doing pretty good. I think I'm doing pretty good. I think I have two big projects left and then a couple small ones. So next big project, this is definitely a finish for me. I haven't worked on it in a while, and here is why. And I feel like I'm making excuses, but I'm not. You don't live in my brain, so I kind of let you take a tour every so often. Anyway, this is my Roll for Initiative blanket, is what I'm calling it. Because I am using a D20, which is a 20-sided dice that we use in tabletop role-playing games like Dungeons & Dragons, among others. And then I'm using a D4, which is a 4-sided dice. It looks like a pyramid, and that determines, so the 20-sided dice determines the color. Got a little list here. And the 4-sided dice determines how many stripes. And I have stuck to it. Let me show you what it looks like. I showed this in my blankets video. It hasn't changed. So I will show this again. It is very random. It's made out of Caron Simply Soft scraps that I am crocheting together. Here is the current state of my basket. Here's why I haven't worked on it. That is why I haven't worked on it. And that is my 2023 temperature blanket that I am only halfway done with, because I would like to have all of the scraps and redo my list so that I don't get halfway through this blanket and then suddenly I have more colors to work with. Anyway, so this is a finish, but it is going to be a little bit more long term, and it's going to go back into hibernation until I finish this. Which this is also going into hibernation because it's hot out, and this is worsted weight. Acrylic. Anyway, as you can see from my temperature chart, I have left off, I finished June 9th. So I am almost halfway done with this blanket. I'm not going to pull it out. It's really big, but I will insert some footage of what it looks like. I've got big buttons I attach each month on the first of the month. It takes up a lot of room. It's meant to fit on our king size bed. So once it's done, I will be happy that that's out of the way. I do have a couple more whips. Hold on one moment. Okay, I am back. I had to grab these from the living room. So I have 3 Kindle cases, and 2 of them are going to be finished. These 2 are going to be finished. I need to add 3 snaps. I'm going to do 3 snaps. I'm going to kind of experiment. These have the leftover yarn in them for and then they will get folded over, and that will kind of tuck the inside of the snap inside, so it won't scratch up the cover. But these Kindle or e-reader sleeves are finish items. They are going to be finished. This one is not. I got a different gauge with this, and I didn't check till later, and I am holding the yarn double, and there's a couple places that I missed the second strand of yarn. I'm just not liking how this particular weight is knitting up. So I'm going to frog this and make this into scrunchies. I've got plenty of yarn left. I'll make several. I mean, this isn't in color right now, right? So this is a frog. Well, technically it's an e-reader sleeve, but I'm going to be frogging it. We just passed Father's Day, so I felt like that was necessary. This is my last whip. This one's currently on the needles. But these are all the scrunchies that I need to finish. So let's see how many we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm running out of hands. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I've got 18 scrunchies. And I need to insert the elastics so that they look like this. And seal them or seam them. So these are definitely finishes. They're for the upcoming, in November, we will have the Christkindl market in my area of Ohio at the Canton Museum of Art. Also, sorry, I just noticed that I've got dust here and I was going to blow it off, but that would have been weird. Anyway, I am working on my Shopify account to, once I get some of these things that I'm trying to get rid of finished, listing those for sale. So keep an eye out for that. I will announce it here on the channel. I will also announce it on my Instagram and on my website. So if you are currently not watching through YouTube, but you're watching through SaturdayKnitLive.com, keep an eye out there. I will be announcing when the Shopify shop is open, and then you'll be able to order directly from there. And also, if I turn this up, these, I will be going through these bins of finished items that I knitted for myself and deciding what I want to keep and what I want to give away. So I will be destashing. There will also be yarns that you don't see here. They are actually behind me in a basket. Yarns that I have decided I'm not keeping. They are full skeins. They are labeled. They have not been used. I just bought them and then decided that they needed a new home. So this Shopify site will have finished items that have been gently worn, finished items that are new, as well as destash of yarns that are new and unused. So I did not have any, excuse me, it's the pollen. I did not have any questions this week, but I did have someone ask me recently while I was in Minnesota what I used to organize my different projects and things. And I am not sponsored whatsoever, but I use an app called Knit and Note. It is a free app, and I subscribe to the premium version because I'm extra. They are not paying me to advertise this. I don't even feel like I am advertising, but I do have the link in my description to my Knit and Note account so that you can see. It's free to sign up. It's just like Instagram for knitting or crochet. The great thing that I like is that because it's an app and it's not, I feel like it's a little bit more user-friendly than Ravelry. I do still use Ravelry. I don't use it as much for my projects. I actually put my projects on Knit and Note and then I import them manually into my Ravelry page. It's a little convoluted, but until they kind of work simultaneously or like together in tandem, that's just how I do it. Knit and Note is run by a Norwegian slash English team, so a lot of the patterns and things available on there are in Norwegian or Danish. Some of them are in English, so if you are looking for the premium version, just know that not all of the patterns that are available through the premium version are going to be in English. Just be aware of that. The great thing that I like is that I can see my stash very easily. I can tag things, same as Ravelry. The only difference is I'm not logging on to a website that's meant for my computer. I'm logging into an app that's meant for this smaller device. I can share things on there just like you would on a forum on Ravelry, but instead it's more the form that you share it in is similar to Instagram or Twitter, where people can like it or comment or ask questions. And I think that's really, really nice. And the app is just really simple. It doesn't have a lot of extra fluff in it. I can upload my PDFs of my patterns, or I can upload actual photos of the patterns if they're in like book form or something like that. It tells me how many yards or grams I have knit, if I'm keeping track of that, by uploading my yarns into the app. I have not quite gotten that far yet. Most of my stash is uploaded into the app, but not everything. I tend to, at this point, upload as I go. I'll just pick a section and take pictures and upload as I go. Anyway, I will insert some video in here of kind of how the app runs and how I use it to keep myself a little bit more organized, plan projects for the future, check out and look at my completed projects and notes, and keep up with my current projects as well as my stash. And I have not quite gotten around to it, but I plan to put my needle and crochet hook stash in there. And that will help quite a bit with me overbuying the same needles that I already have, because we don't need overconsumption in this house. It's not necessary. So I am right now opening my Knit and Note app. This is how I see on my screen. We're going to start a new project. This is a Stephen West pattern. I'm going to call it the Rainbow Geometric Blanket, and obviously I don't know how to type properly on my phone. We're going to try that again. Third time's the charm. Rainbow Geometric, wow, blanket. And I'm calling it this because I honestly cannot pronounce the name of the pattern. So I'm going to add this in my planned patterns. And then because I don't actually have the pattern in my inventory, in my stash for my patterns, I'm going to go to my Ravelry and open it up there. I want to say it's back a little farther, so we're going to try to skip to the page that I think I remember seeing it on. A little bit farther. Oh, there it is. So I'm going to download this, and it's going to open up in my Adobe software that's already on my phone. We're going to kind of ignore that and go back to our Knit and Note app and upload that PDF. It's pretty easy. I'm just going to edit the name of it so it's a little bit more aesthetic. Going to add in the designer name. Obviously, this is Stephen West. And I can tag it with, I can add it to the blanket category, and then I'm going to tag it because this uses DK weight. So when I go to use a search function, I'll know that this is DK weight. I can edit the details. I haven't started this pattern, so I'm just going to put that it's for me since I don't know the gauge or anything yet, but I'm going to now switch to my stash section on this app, and I'm going to add the yarn that is going to be used for this pattern. Now this, obviously, my dyslexia is getting the better of me today, and I apparently don't know how to read either. Let's try that again. This is actually Westwool Tandem DK. So I'm going to add the yarn details in here. I'm just reading this from the label. Again, I cannot seem to type while being recorded. And it took me a little while to figure out where it listed the actual blend of the yarn on the label, but eventually we got there. This is 100% wool, which is fine because this is going to make a really nice blanket. Let's try that again. You get to see this in real time. So this is all set in my thing. So now I'm going to add some yarn details into my stash. And it's really, really easy. You just take a picture of the color. Again, I cannot spell corduroy. I'm looking at the label as I'm spelling it, and I still can't spell it properly. The great thing is that on this, I can just add as many as I want. And if we go back to my planned projects, there it is at the very bottom with all of the details so far. And I can go into my yarn stash here, down to West Wool, pick the yarn and add it to the project. And there it is. So here I've got a little bit of a fast forward video to show you how easy it is. I am going to upload all 23 colors for this blanket. While I'm sitting here, I might as well, right? It's super easy. As soon as you have kind of established the yarn details, all you do is you go in and you hit a little plus button under those details, and you can add as many skeins of that same type of yarn in the different colors as you want. So this blanket takes, sorry, stretching my back a little bit there, sitting, and this is not super comfortable. I'm sitting sideways on the couch. Anyway, this blanket has 23 yarn colors, and so I figured might as well get them all photographed really quick and put them in my stash so that when I'm ready to cast on for the blanket, it is all good to go. And then the great thing about this is when you go back into your project, you can edit the details of the yarn you use in the project to show how many grams you've used for the project and how much you end up with leftovers. So that kind of gives that extra little bit of information that I'm always, well, sometimes looking for. It does take a bit of time to do this. This is pretty tedious, especially if you have a large stash like me. Not bragging at all because, again, this is tedious. But getting it done and getting it in there and having it on the go and available wherever I am is really, really great. Because if I am at the yarn shop or I am out of town or out of state yarn shopping, it's very easy for me to pull up my stash and my future projects or planned projects and see what I actually do need, or what I might want to add to them versus just buying things that are pretty that might just sit there and never get used. It is also easy for me to see things that have been languishing in my stash that maybe I need to destash or need to make into projects for charity or to give away as gifts. So I am really fully enjoying this app quite a bit. I've been using it since January, and it's helped me kind of stay motivated and get my projects done. You can also have people follow you, and when you post a finished project, they can kind of see the details as well as the photos and like them and share them, which is really nice. People from all over the world use this app. It started off as a Kickstarter and was fully funded relatively quickly. I actually have used this app since before January when it was still in its early phase, but I didn't really start posting my finished projects or planning projects or really getting into putting things in my stash until this January. And so far, I have really kept up with it. I don't really check it daily, but I do check it at least a couple times a week to, kind of see things that I plan to make in the future and whatnot. So it's definitely a motivator for me. I really do enjoy this app. Again, I'm not sponsored. I'm just really happy with how this app functions. Anyway, that is all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Tune in for our next video where we will do our monthly wrap up. You'll see finished items, works in progress that are current, as well as anything that I have purchased or has been shipped to me. And if you have any questions, as usual, put them down below. You can also instant message me or email me. All of my information is down below. You can contact me through any of my socials. And I hope to hear from you. Yeah, I think that's I'm rambling a bit because I'm very warm in here. I am also a little rusty at this. I haven't done this for a little while, and I'm staring at my whips that I want to go work on. Anyway, thank you again for watching. I'm Bethany, and this is Saturday Night Live.